Hey, this is Tom, and we got to talk about Palantir. The stock is up 11% just today. That's after we had a massive 25 to 30% spike right after Q1 earnings just a couple of days ago. And we're up 75% on this stock year to date. Now, it's still a long ways away from the highs of the 20 and the 30 it used to get when Kathy Wood was all about that stock and the meme stocks and all that stuff and the hype stocks, etc., etc. Those days are long gone. The question is, how high can this stock go now? At $11.4, the question is, what's the runway this stock has? Can it go back to its glory? How long will it take? And do I still think that this is a $500 stock potentially? I know this is a 50x from this point, but do I still believe that? And even more importantly, was Chicken Genius wrong selling this stock? He sold at $9.50. He missed out on a lot of money. The question is, was he wrong? Now, first of all, before we begin this video, I have to give a huge shout out to Tendies. They're sponsoring this video and they're absolutely the best. It's a free platform, as you can see here on the screen. You get the best research on the internet. You can connect it to your brokerage, get information specific for your stocks, your tickers. They also have an options flow right here. It's absolutely free. It's the best free tool I've ever seen. As you can see here on the screen, there's an options calculator as well. You can put in any ticker you want and you'll get everything here. I know a lot of tools who are not free, who are not as good as Tendies, and all you guys have to do is use the link below, sign up, tell them Tom sent you, use it, block out the noise, and get Tendies. Thank me later. Now, let's go back to Palantir here for a second because this is absolutely insane. So the question is, now that Palantir is up, let me just pull it up on the screen right now. If Palantir is up by 75% year to date, is this now a good time to invest? For all of you who stayed outside, that's a question you're probably debating with. And for all of you who already have a position, considering increasing the position. And, for some of you who are considering taking profits, all of you are here to find out how much this stock can run up. And here's the simple answer for you. I have to go back and talk to you about what just happened. Look, this stock jumped 75% year to date, 25% post earnings. We understand this, right? Now, first of all, I have to be honest. I'm not with the crowd that's hating on Chicken Genius for selling. For two reasons. Number one, he's a trader, not a long-term investor when it comes to Palantir. And that's his 100% right to do whatever he wants. If he decides to be a trader one day and a long-term investor the other day, it's his right. He decided to be a trader, good for him. Mainly because of reason number two, which is he made $100,000 on this trade. So the man took $100,000 in profit. He got out. The stock kept on running. He lost another 15%. Whatever. He already made $100,000. So he didn't do anything wrong. There's nothing to criticize him for. There's no hindsight in this game. Nobody really knows how a stock behaves in the short term. He took profits. At that time, for a trader, that was not a bad idea at all. In fact, I think if I was a trader, I probably would have done the same. Now, look, nobody can predict swings, right? He did the right call at the time for a trader, but that is why I personally don't trade. I only invest long term because there's no way to predict these things short term. Now, for me, Palantir has never been a trade. You all know this, right? It's not news to you. I've always been a long-term investor in Palantir. I started buying Palantir at $18. A lot of yahoos on the internet talking about me buying at $40 and this nonsense. Go back to my first videos. I first did a DCF on Palantir when it was an $18 stock, and I kept on buying. In fact, I kept on buying even as it went higher, and I did not time it correctly. Sure, 100%. Guilty as charged. No problem. So my entry point was 18. That's fine. It doesn't matter, and I'll explain why. Did I mistime it? Yeah, sure. But do I care? No. And here's the answer for you. If this is indeed a $100 stock, if this is indeed a $500 stock, like I think it is, I'm already giving you a hint about my answer for the next question. So if I think that this is a $500 stock, and that's my right to think that, that's my opinion. Might be inaccurate, might be wrong, might be the ramblings of a madman from Russia, but that's what I think. So if I think that this is a $500 stock, which I do still to this day, and still when the stock was $6, I was still thinking that. That's why I never sold a single share of Palantir. So if I think that this is a $500 stock, does it matter if I entered $18, $10, or $28, or $48 if this is a $500 stock? Not really. It doesn't matter. Peter Lynch has a freaking amazing lecture where he talks about the one fact you all need to remember. It's never too late to buy into good companies. There's always room for good companies to make profits for long-term investors. There's no point in trying to time your entry point if you're not a trader. It's the wrong tool for that trade, literally. So let's talk about Palantir for a second and why I think this is potentially is a $500 stock. My mind has never changed. You know me, I've always been true to this stock. I've never sold, and everybody was hating on it. Some people were flip-flocking like a Wiener Schnitzel, basically starting to hate on the stock. Never changed for me. And this is why. So right now we had the Q1 conference call. I think this was one of the most exciting calls we had from Palantir. The trajectory that we've seen from the Q1 numbers and the Q1 presentation is incredible. Sure, there's a good chance, please listen to me, there's a good chance this stock can retrace. It can sell off. It can drop back to $7, $8 for sure. Chicken Genius sold. That wasn't a bad move at that time. Hindsight judgment is not fair. I don't care. Look at it. I got a rhyme, right? So it can retrace. It can fall. Nobody knows. I don't play that game. Hence, I don't care. But here's the most interesting point. This is the point where I find it fascinating. And this is why I think they do have runway. Now, most analysts and professional investors were bearish on Palantir up until the Q1 call. After the Q1 call, I don't know if you noticed, but the narrative about the stock changed. Now, nothing really changed dramatically for the numbers except GAAP profitability, which is just an accounting number. The company was free cash flow positive for multiple quarters already. But GAAP profitability changed the narrative for the stock. So 2 consecutive quarters of positive GAAP profits changed a lot of minds on Wall Street about the stock. And that's the beginning of a very interesting time for Palantir. If institutional investors and Wall Street starts looking at the stock seriously, not as a meme stock from hell, Cathy Wood kind of thing, right? This is a support point for the stock that can really take it upwards. I don't know if it's going to happen or when, but this is a really different thing I'm seeing right now. The whole narrative about the stock has absolutely changed. Now, why is it changing? Now, beyond the GAAP profitability for 2 consecutive quarters, there's other things that are going on that people are talking about. First of all, stock-based compensation coming down. So this quarter was the 7th consecutive quarter where SBC, stock-based compensation, dilution, actually declined. So for 2 years, every single quarter, the stock-based compensation and dilution of Palantir is declining. It's still very high, and it can improve, but it's coming down every single quarter. Just in Q2 2021, the percentage of stock-based compensation of revenues of Palantir was 62%. This quarter, it came down to 22%. Only 22% ratio between the dilution, the SBC, and the revenues. So they went down by 3x in just under 2 years. Now, the other thing that people complain about Palantir is scalability. Well, they're just a government contractor. They can't make any money in the commercial industry, blah, 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 blah. Well, commercial client growth is up 370% over the past 2 years. Currently, 75% of their clients is commercial clients. So to say it's a government contractor with 75% of the clients coming from the commercial sector is a little bit ridiculous, and people starting to see this. The other thing is that was a lot of talk about gatekeeping. Companies don't like Palantir. They have their own tools. They have to admit that their tools not as good, et cetera, et cetera. They're not going to give Palantir a chance. Well, look at the companies that already implemented Palantir, like Tyson Foods, for example. At this point, it's going to be very simple. I've said it 2 years ago. Palantir will get to the point where if you don't use it and your competitors are, you're going to get screwed and you're going to get wiped out. You will lose. So you don't have any choice but to level up and get Palantir as well, which is exactly what's starting to happen right now. The other point people are talking about Palantir is not, it's not a recession-proof company, blah, blah, blah. Well, guess what? Q1, Palantir closed 64 new deals at $1 million or more. Gave you a quarter of record-breaking revenues of $525 million in this economy when everybody is in the toilet. Now, does it deserve the current price tag? Is it a good idea to buy into such strength? I don't know. It's your call. I'm not here to decide for you. But for me, it's very obvious. Right now, this valuation is not representative of the true kind of DCF classic valuation of Palantir. If you can take a look at here on the screen, I'm actually showing you, this is Stock MVP, this is my own platform, but I can actually pull up my own valuation and show you why the valuation of the stock is not yet there. But it will be, I think it will be. This is what I want to show you. So this is our own valuation tool right here. And I'm going to make it a little bit smaller so you guys can see it. So based on these metrics right here, Palantir is basically between $4 and $12 right now. If you just do a plain DCF valuation with multiples like textbook and don't assume any sort of, trajectory of growth, etc., this stock is between $4 and $12. Currently trading at what, 11 and a half. So there's not a lot of room there. So if you're investing in this stock, you have to understand it has to grow into this valuation. This company jumped up 75% in just the last 5 months. And I know people will say, well, Tom, zoom out. It's still down like 50% or whatever, 60%. Yes, but times have changed. Multiples have changed. The economy has changed. The markets have changed. Every single company is in a different climate right now. This is the Palantir we're talking about, not the Palantir of 2 years ago. So if you're buying into the stock, buy it with the mindset that number one, it can retrace, it can sell off. Number two, it still needs a couple of years to grow into its valuation. And number three, it's either going to go to absolutely, out of the stratosphere or it's not. And in both options, you should be okay with it. I wouldn't put my life savings and bet everything I have on this stock because like any other stock in the market, it always have the potential to actually blow you up. So this shouldn't be, betting your kids' college money on this thing. No stock should be in that position. But I'm just here to show you that, objectively, this stock has a lot of progress to make. They're not there yet. They spiked a lot. I don't know if this is the best time to invest or not right now. I don't time my investments long-term because it doesn't really matter. But, you do you. As always, don't click nothing, don't smash nothing, don't buy nothing. I love you all. See you next video. Before I let you go, one little thing. If you lasted with me this long, I want to show you something. Now, this is for the OGs on the channel. Right here, I'm going to pull it up, and I want you to see what I have here for you. I want you to see what we have going on right now in our community, and this is absolutely going to blow you away. I'm going to share screen with you. It's absolutely insane. So this is our Discord server. Right now you're seeing on the screen. This is where we all hang out. If you want to be a part of this, and I highly suggest you become a part of this because we have an incredible conversation here almost every day about all the stocks I make videos about. We have stock feedback rooms here. We have voice chat. Like we have games going on here. It's a beautiful community. If you want to be a part of it, all you got to do is hit the link below, join my Patreon. It's $5 per month. That's it. You get a link to join this thing. And I'll tell you what, if you join, and you're not happy at any point, even if you've been a member for 6 months and all of a sudden you're not happy, I'm going to refund you for the full 6 months. How about that? I'm that confident you won't do it because you're going to enjoy this community.